Hi, you guys. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. So about 2 years ago, I made a video about how I stopped smoking weed. This is one of the videos I share the most often of all of the work that I do. This is something that so many people struggle with. So I'm not going to be talking to you if you're someone who just casually smokes weed. This video is for people who have tried to quit a million times. You've said to yourself, oh, I'm just going to quit tomorrow. This is going to be the last time. And you've said that like more than a dozen times. And you feel on a subconscious level, it's like, wow, I'm like really addicted, or like, wow, I'm like, you feel bad about yourself. That's what I was trying to say. You feel bad about yourself because you keep saying this and you're not doing it. And there's also this subtle shame to it because you can't really talk to people about it. And when you do, everyone's like, oh, weed's not addictive. So this video is going to be for you if that's something that you're dealing with. If you're feeling, please share this with other people if it helps you. So 2 years ago, I did another video about a month after I stopped smoking weed. So you can go back and watch that too, because I'm going to be talking about different things. I haven't even gone back and watched it, so I don't really remember what I said, but it was more my mindset when I had been clean from weed for about a month. Now it's been 2 years. And I want to start off with saying cannabis is a plant. I love plants. I love plant medicine. I think that it's such a holistic, natural way to heal our body. However, we can abuse anything. So I do want to say that I've smoked a few times since I stopped my daily habit. There's no shame about that. There's nothing to feel bad about, but I want to just say that. So my relationship has completely changed with it, and now I can utilize it and really reap the benefits of it rather than relying on it, or rather than abusing it and feeling bad about myself for doing so. So just to recap, if you haven't watched that other video, for probably 8 to 10 years, I smoked every single day. There were no repercussions in my life other than I ate too much sugar, and I probably had 10 extra pounds of weight on me, but because of the sugar. But there was nothing else. Like, my work benefited when I was high. I would get so extra excited about my work. I would be so productive, so much so that actually when I stopped for months, it took me a long time to create productivity again. Like, I had relied, well, I didn't use it for productivity, but that was my baseline energy, that I had weed in my system all the time for like over 5 years. So my body actually had to learn how to be productive without it. So the stigmas around weed are such a lie. Everyone has a totally different reaction, response when they smoke. Some people get so anxious and paranoid. Some people are so productive. Like, I remember I'd just be at work, like before I started working for myself, like, this is so much fun. Like, I'd be high as fuck at work. Like, and yeah, so that was a shift that I wasn't expecting. So anyways, we all are utilizing it for different things. Now, here's what I learned 2 years later. The first thing that I really noticed was I would feel this sense of agitation a lot more. And the longer I went without smoking, the more I realized that the real reason I was smoking was to cover up this agitation. I didn't think that at the time. I was like, I just enjoy it for chilling out. It's a plant medicine. It's better than me drinking. It's better than alcohol for my body. Like, my body will appreciate it more. And like, yeah, it just allows me to relax. And I just really like how I feel when I'm on it. And nothing is wrong. Like, there's no, like I was saying, there's no cons. There's nothing other than maybe I was spending too much money on it, or more money than I felt aligned with. So at the time, I didn't think anything was wrong with it, other than I was like, it's embarrassing that I have to smoke before I do everything. Or like, if I don't, then I'm going to want to, or it's embarrassing that it's more so it's embarrassing that I can't go a day without smoking, or I really miss it. If I'm in my normal environment. If I would leave my normal environment, it would be different, because like the habits are different. So people say that weed's not addictive, but it's the habit of it that's addictive. It's the habit of overriding a certain emotion that is addictive. So for me, what I was overriding was agitation. So you'll notice when you stop smoking, there will probably be a common emotion that starts to come up the most for you. it's probably going to be a lower frequency emotion, because if it was like joy, you wouldn't probably need to override it, right? So noticing what that is. For a lot of people, it's frustration or agitation, like being on edge because you don't have that thing to smooth the edges over. But after a while, you will start to experience certain emotions that you're like, oh, so this is before, like before, this is when I'd be like, oh, let me just take a bong hit. And yeah, so 2 years later, I don't smoke every day. I don't have it in the house ever, because I know that I will literally go back to those same habits. If it's around, my patterning is very, this is for me, it might not be true for you. I know if I have it, I'm gonna smoke it because I love weed. So for me, it's been something that I've enjoyed when friends come over and they bring it, or like I plan to do it for one ceremony or something. But it's not something that's always in the house, because I know that I will go back to that habit. If someone brings it over and there's none left over afterwards, I'm not going to have that to rely on, or I'm not going to have that to start the habit again. So I spoke a bit about in the other video too, when you are on substances of any kind, it opens up your auric field. This for me is actually what made me quit. This was the final thing I needed to know in order for me to quit, because I work in energy fields and I'm like traveling dimensions all day long. So when I learned that when you're smoking, when you're high, when you're impaired, which could be from anything, when you are impaired, your auric field is much more easy to penetrate, meaning, or there's literal holes that are created in your auric field. So what that means is entities can come into your auric field and attach to you and feed off of you. So, in scripture and things like that, this could be called demons. You don't need to like scare yourself with that. It's just other beings, or other energies that can live off of your energy. So it is sort of like, whoa, I'm trying to not have that happen. So for me, that was the reason that I was like, nope, I'm in way too many dimensions, way too many things because I do energy healing work. So way too many things can attach to me. This isn't like this is a safety thing. But what's happened since then has been so beautiful. My energy, I've gotten so much more sensitive to energy, which sometimes is annoying, but for the most part, it's allowed me to really deepen my work and get much more mastery in the type of work that I'm doing. But for anyone, even if you're not an energy healer, you're going to get a lot more in tune with your intuition. Now, some people say that they're using weed to access their intuition. Here's what's happening when people say that. Your system is so busy, or you are so like overstimulated, that you need weed, and you can start to rely on weed for this too, to soften your mind, to soften your like doing body, basically your mind, so that you can be still enough to receive the information. It's not weed, it's that it's slowing your responses down. Because if this is you probably live a pretty busy life, or you have a lot of anxiety, and the anxiety is speaking louder than your intuition is, so you can't hear it, or you have a harder time hearing it. That's a different video. But if you're starting to rely on weed to do that, there's no judgment here. You can do whatever you want. However you want to access your intuition is cool, but you're also creating a pattern that you're not going to be able to access it without using that substance. So this for me right now is me with cacao. Like I love cacao so much. So it helps me access creativity. I can still access it without cacao, but I'm just like, well, I'll just have some cacao. So we all have our different vices, right? But so there's no judgment with it. Weed is a pretty harmless drug, right? Like other than maybe like cartel vibes, but most of it I think is made in the US now. So anyways, like if you're here in the US, anywho, not sure about that. Don't quote me on it. But yeah, so I really want to encourage you, if you keep having this thought of like, I want to smoke, and you just seem to not be able to do it, get all of it out of your house. You need a reason that is bigger than your pleasure you receive from weed. So for me, I was starting to go into Akashic Records training. You had to be totally sober. So that was my reason. But the secondary reason was what I learned about your auric fields. Now, if you don't have a reason, like maybe I use this with my friends all the time. I'm like, hey, if I don't do this, I have to pay you $50. Or if I don't wake up this, like one I've done with one of my friends is like when I'm trying to wake up early and set that as a pattern, I'm like, I have to send you $5 every day that I don't wake up at 6 or wake up at whatever time. The money motivated me. I didn't want to send $5, like because I didn't do something. So I had to get up. So you already know this, but like you have to figure out something that's going to be more valuable to you than the pleasure of getting high. And also knowing that like your self-esteem is going to improve so much, how you feel about yourself is going to improve, which is also going to attract much better things to you. If you're holding shame, you're going to attract things that heighten that shame. So whatever you're holding in your energetic body is what you're going to attract. So here's some stuff to motivate you. Since I've quit smoking weed, my energy, my sensitivity to energy has increased by 100 times. Literally. It's like your field when you're smoking is hazy. It's so foggy. It's like literally there's like smoky mist hovering above you. So you can't access other information. It's not that you're confused or anything like that, but if you're trying to like receive energy or receive messages from your higher self, it's going to be distorted. Since I stopped smoking, now I think that this is more so my work in the Akashic Records, and also I was attuned to Reiki, and they say with both of those modalities, when you get attuned, your life will flip upside down. So since then, this was 2 years ago, moved across the country, ended an 8-year relationship, had another very catalyzing relationship, in a different relationship that's much better now. And I feel, but those things I'm just saying because you become so clear, you start attracting what it is you need on a much more specific level. A lot of times when we're continually smoking, continually like numbing ourselves out about something, there's something we might not be wanting to see, something we might not be wanting to look at that we'd prefer to just numb out and ignore it. So for me, that was partially stuff with the relationship where I was living. I also live on the opposite side of the coast of the US. I was in California before, now I'm in Florida. I've lost a bunch of weight from not eating so much sugar. My skin is so much better. I feel so much better. So here's what's happened every time I've smoked, just like once, like smoking a joint with friends on the balcony or something, or like at the beach or something like that. I feel gross the next day. It's really fun during the time, but the next day I feel so groggy. And I smoke a very small amount. It's not a big amount at all. And I'm like, that's so interesting. I can feel it for days in my system because partially I'm really sensitive to energy. And now I'm even more sensitive. I can feel it for days. And I'm always like, it's not really worth the after effect, but it's fun when I'm doing it. So then, very rare that I do smoke, but if I do, I enjoy it. But then I make sure that I'm not smoking too much because I don't want that groggy feeling. So it's just interesting how that's shifted. What are some other things that have happened? Basically, things have improved a lot. And yeah, I just want to encourage you as well. Like so many people, or I just want to remind you, so many people are having trouble with this. This is filmed after COVID. Before that was like a month or two into COVID. Like we don't even know what we were getting into. I think I filmed that in like June 2020. Right now, if you're watching this, I'm filming in March 2022. And like we're full into the swing of the shift of into the age of Aquarius. So we've gone through so much. A lot of people have become really reliant on weed, especially as it's being legalized in other places, which is good. I think that's a good thing. But more people having access to it and also utilizing it as a numbing agent for all of the stuff we've been through. I must attract people who tell me that they're having trouble quitting. Like Uber drivers tell me this all the time. So you're not alone. Like there are so many people going through this. And I remember something that really frustrated me when I was that no one understood. People were like, weed's not even addictive. It's fine. Like you don't worry about it. And it's like, no, it's a problem. Like I can feel that this isn't like a normal thing. This isn't normal. So yeah, if you need help with it, honestly, The only things that are going to help you is you creating a important, deep why that is far beyond the pleasure that you receive from weed. Getting accountability, maybe, but that might only last a certain amount of time. You need a reason. So dig until you find it. And also, like, maybe the reason is impressing yourself. I'm tired of letting myself down. Who could I be if I wasn't high all the time? I'm not operating in my highest potential. And it's like, to me, also, the problem it stopped being even about weed itself. It started being about the fact that I couldn't do it, that I was so reliant on something outside of myself, that I would have such a reaction or be so irritated or whatever, that I just couldn't stick to my word with this. And it just felt really disempowering. So maybe your reason is that you're over your shit and it's time to impress yourself. Because I just say it because, like, when you use accountability, sometimes if you're like, okay, I'm going to stop for 6 months, like I did that before. And for me, it might be different for you. For me, I like literally was in a coaching program and we had to give something up for 6 months, and I gave up weed. And so did other people in my group, actually. And all of us, the day that the 6 months was done, started smoking again and went into the same pattern because we weren't addressing the pattern itself. So I hope that this helps you. Please let me know in the comments if you have anything that's really supported you, what your reasoning is. Please, please, please share it, because other people are going to look at this and maybe your reason is something that can inspire them. Please share what's worked for you in quitting. Please share how you like the video, anything that you want to comment, because there are going to be people who read the comments here and I want your share to inspire them. No like pressure to be super inspiring or something, but when you share, you don't have any clue about how many people resonate with it, even if they don't say anything. So comment for other people, because a lot of people are going through this right now and struggling with it. And I know because they come to me all the time and they're like, can you help me with coaching? And I'm like, no, this isn't something that I feel you can be coached through. It's a moment by moment decision. It's an addiction. Maybe you could go to AA or go like start reading addiction sort of books. That's not my vibe, but like, so that's not what I chose to work with. But yeah, so anyways, thank you for watching. I hope that this supports you. Please like this so that more people can see it. Please comment something so other people can be inspired, and please share it if this touched your heart. Share it if you know someone who needs to hear this. You can also go back and watch the other video. It's from 2 years ago. I think it's called How I Stopped Smoking Weed. So yeah, that might have some other gems for you as well. Okay, I hope you have a beautiful day, and just remember that you can do this. You're much more powerful than any plant. Sorry, plants. My plants are right here. Like, you can take control of your life. You can get control over this, and it's only going to benefit you. And then maybe your relationship to it will change. There's one Reiki principle that I want to share with you, and we can adjust a little bit for this. So in Reiki, one of the things that we can say every day is, just for today, I will not worry. So you could literally say, just for today, I'm not going to smoke. Just for today, I'm going to be sober. And that takes away the pressure of like, I'm never going to smoke again. Because then it's like, no, I want to though. So if it's just a day-to-day thing and then you keep choosing that, maybe that will work for some of you guys. So anyways, sending you lots of love, and I'll talk to you soon.